We begin with a history lesson. In September of 1882, workers had it. 12-hour days, 7 days a week, and hard, low-paying jobs just wasn't fair. So they gathered as laborers, at least 10,000 of them, and marched to New York City. It was the first one day without labor, a strike as we know it today, and that was part of the origin story of the organized power of labor and the holiday we are living in right now, Labor Day. Organized labor numbers are lower today than they've been in a long time, but we see the power of organized labor almost monthly. Right now, we are days away from what could be an auto workers strike that will have ripple effects across the nation. We remain in a writer and actor strike in Hollywood, halting TV shows and movies in their tracks. And here at home, we have seen a nurses strike, teachers strikes, and frontline grocery employees. Each time, labor has gotten almost all of what they demanded in their strike terms. So what does all of it mean? And Kent, what does it say about the state of labor on this Labor Day?
Yeah, Jana, it really depends on how you look at it. Last year, union organizing hit a 7-year high, but less than half of the votes resulted in a win for the union. And a lot of uncertainty hangs over the Hollywood strike and the auto workers strike negotiations that you just mentioned. Now, keep in mind, though, unions only tell part of the labor story on a day like today, and experts say a new normal seems to be emerging.
If you're looking for an overview of the state of labor,
the job market is really good right now.
Haja Jallo has a global perspective.
So there's a lot of jobs out there.
She and her husband Abu live here, but own and operate their own IT company
in Sierra Leone,
back in Africa.
Job market there is terrible. Here is way better. We're blessed. We get to give almost 100 people jobs.
But to support their employees and their young family,
a lot of work.
They also both work part-time in Minnesota.
With 4 kids. So we're busy.
Sounds tiring.
I mean, yeah, but it's fun.
While their workload certainly isn't average, experts say it's a good example of the opportunity that continues to exist.
We've had these forecasts, recession, recession, recession. And instead what we get is improvements in the job market. And so I think the definition of a good economy is when firms are looking for workers, and that's the situation we're in.
Chris Farrell, senior economics contributor for NPR News and Marketplace, says that demand for workers has resulted in more union organizing and some big wins for UPS workers and other groups. But at a time when Hollywood is at a standstill and the auto industry is bracing for a potential strike, he says the Great Resignation appears to be over, though a great generational change is sticking around.
The population is really not growing. Having children is way down. The population is aging. In 2034, for the first time in U.S. history, they're going to be more 65 and older than 18 and under. So that's kind of in the backdrop where we have moved into an era where the labor market is probably just going to be tighter overall.
And if you're looking for a sign of optimism, oddly enough, he says look at the unemployment rate, which ticked up to 3.8% last month.
Initially, you go, okay, this is bad news, right? This must mean more layoffs are going on. And it turns out it's not layoffs. Layoffs are actually cooling off. What it was more and more people coming into the job market and looking for work.
And while many are enticed by better pay, that's not the only positive in this market.
Every job I work for, I have to have flexibility. For me, that's what I prioritize. That's why I took this job.
You're enjoying a picnic on a holiday.
Yes.
So that says something about flexibility.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of America.
Now back to organized labor for a minute. Despite some of those big wins in the last year, only about 11% of U.S. workers were represented by a union in 2022. And that was actually down a bit from 2021. But a recent report from the U.S. Treasury found that union employees do earn about 10 to 15% more than their peers. And that causes upward pressure in industries too, Jana.
Yeah, let's get back to kind of those grocery strikes here in town. We had a lot of the major players, Cub, Kowalski, Lunds & Byerly's, and now some of the co-ops are organizing. They're arguing they've been on the front lines since the pandemic, and there aren't any people behind them to replace them. So that would be power in their category, right, Kent?
Yeah, and that's what you have happening across a lot of different industries over the last few years. You see that upward pressure, and then it raises the bar for all, and then maybe you have some other negotiations resulting from that.
All right, thanks so much, Kent.